Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Big League Breakdowns. This is episode 30 of the podcast, and today we are going to be talking about the MLB Winter Meetings that are upon us here in a few days of recording this episode. We got the crew with us, all of us here today, myself, Tyler, Will, John, and Bobby, the producer again for this one.
Can we
And
just call him the producer from now on? He doesn't get a name.
produce, yeah,
No, just the producer. That's his
the
name. The
producer,
The
yeah.
producer.
producer.
A
The
very
angry man.
mysterious producer. Yeah, a
Not
lot
that
of
mysterious. He's been on camera.
no, we're gonna make
I
him
wish they could
mysterious.
see our recording setup so they could see that we don't see Bobby. We just
Yeah,
get a
yeah.
black void that he comes out of every once in a while when he wants
No,
to.
no,
I
no,
have
no,
lights
no,
on
no,
when I'm
no.
on the camera.
Hold on. I can see him because the screens are reflecting off of his pale face.
I was gonna say, are you looking at his glasses that twinkle
There
every
you
once
go.
in a while? Ooh,
Here, I have a Google document open.
There we go. Let's pick on somebody else for a change, boys.
Google
Yeah,
illuminates you,
let's
Bobby.
tell them
Yeah,
how-
there you go. This is where we're at. But then
Except
look, a
that-
click of a button, and wow, I'm at the bank, guys. How did I get here?
Oh
Pale,
God,
pale.
God.
Teleportation.
My
Take
hot-
that, Star Trek.
Hot start, and we lost our whole audience of 2 people. But we are back talking about the winter meetings where trades are going to go down, signings will happen, the hottest time for the baseball offseason, and definitely getting some rumors around the league. So we're going to hop into a few of those here, starting with the Chicago Cubs. As
Arson Judge signing with the Cubs.
Arson Judge to the Cubs, I can't believe it.
Oh my God.
It had to be done. It had to be done.
Shout out John Heyman.
Shout out John Heyman. He's gonna come on our show and cry now. It's
I'm a
crazy.
John Heyman guy.
Well, you are John.
Oh,
And
God.
I mean, hey, man.
Ladies
Acknowledge
and
it.
gentlemen.
Acknowledge the wise man of Major League Baseball.
No further comment.
Throw up the ones. Throw up the ones.
So I don't get fined. No further comment. Look, the Cubs are a weird team because they're a team that they seem like they kind of want to be a contender, but then excuse me, that was gross. Then they seem like they
could have
don't
been
wanna
a
be
contender.
Now
could have been a
get
contender.
on the rails. We're already off topic.
Are you okay? By the way,
are you okay? I'm fine.
Are you? You have had indigestion for the past hour and a half.
Well, when I talk a lot, like I have, because I'm the host of this godforsaken
Boy, that
podcast.
must be a struggle for you.
Yeah. This is what happens. The Cubs are looking to trade either Bellinger or Suzuki. Makes no sense. It feels like the players that you were trying to build around, now you want to trade. Are you a contender? Are you not? Will, what are your thoughts on the Cubs?
I think that they're pretty hell bent on trading Bellinger more so, and only because he's the one that is he costs the most, as well as he's probably more desirable by other teams. He also roadblocks a couple potential young guys, but it is kind of awkward only in that the Cubs team floundered again last year and did not make the postseason. They are making obvious pitching moves early this offseason, so they seem content with their offense. But I'm not completely sold that I think they have enough now to win the division, and I don't think they have enough to really sneak into the playoffs anymore. So it seems a little awkward to try to trade away Bellinger, who 2 years ago hit over 300. Yeah, he was down last year, but he is also a completely different type of player. When you look at him as more of a 270 guy, hits 20 home runs and gives you a lot of good defense. And I mean, he did the job last year, and he's striking out a lot less than he used to. So it has to be a way that they're shedding money. Maybe they see themselves as trying to sign a big-ish name with whatever money that they let go, but it's both. I understand it, and it's a little bizarre considering what their goals are.
It's also bizarre in the sense that they only signed him not that long ago, and
yeah, but he got the Scott Boras. I didn't sign in time, so let's make this deal arrangement. However, the Cubs kind of screwed themselves with the option they put in that he got the pickup.
Yeah, I mean that's strange, and then also like Suzuki was decent last year.
Yeah, he was improving.
Yeah, I mean he had over 20 home runs. He batted what was it, 260? I think it was. I just had the
280, I
stat.
think.
To,
That was
or
280, 266 or 280 something.
283, 283, and had 21 home runs. Like I feel like, he came over as the free agent, and he wasn't incredible his first year, or at least what to the expectations were. But he's come in and been a nice player for the past 2 years. So it's kind of funny that they're looking to trade him. That doesn't make sense to me. But I mean, who do we think is more desirable? Like I feel like it would be. I don't know. You said Bellinger, but like for me,
Bellinger's a
it's
little bit
Suzuki.
more all around to me. Suzuki is probably the slightly better offensive player only because of how Bellinger has changed recently. But I mean, Bellinger can play first. He can play the outfield, and he has really good defense. So I feel like that in its own right will probably be enough to make him a little bit more desirable. Plus, I also think he's the one that the Cubs will probably try to shop more. So if anything, they're going to try to get rid of him over Suzuki.
Yeah,
Well, Bellinger also has the name with it.
I that's what I was gonna say. I, do think
I
there's a
mean,
little
that
bit
is
to
true.
that.
I don't think teams are completely accepting the fact that he's not a 30, 40 home run guy anymore, that he's a 20 home run guy. But
I I don't know. I guess it just like I don't know if it's a name standpoint, but it seems more plausible to me for Bellinger to get traded. I don't know if John is picking up the Pirates.
he's picking up Bellinger's career.
Trying to get some money together so the Pirates can spend some money.
Why
with the
are we
change
bringing
on
the
floor.
Pirates back into this?
Sorry,
I'm
it's
sorry.
part of the, it's okay.
I dropped my fidget thing.
All right, fine. I'll bring the Pirates into this again too. That's who the Cubs will trade him to. They'll trade him to the
Oh,
Pirates.
we'll take it. John, I'll ask you this because, well, going into last year, and we know how the Central shook out, but you were pretty high on the Cubs, at least having them make the playoffs, and now it's just like I don't know, man. Like this team just feels like they don't have a direction right now.
This feels to me like they're hitting the panic button more than anything. We didn't make the playoffs again. Shit. What do we do? Sort of thing. So, yeah, that's about all I got to say about that.
I don't know. Again, it's just a strange situation because Suzuki was productive and Bellinger like kind of just signed a deal, and again, what Will's point just was, but
And they
Well, that's the
if
thing,
they
is
trade him,
like-
they get him for a year, another
Right,
year.
that's
besides
true.
This year.
I mean, we kind of talked about this before the show, but as a Phillies fan that you are, and the fact that the Phillies are in need of maybe a Bellinger, do you think that they should try to go get him?
I'm not opposed to having Bellinger in the outfield because we have so many other big names that I am happy to have a Bellinger that doesn't strike out as much and is a little bit more contact oriented. That's the type of player the Phillies want anyway. But that is a huge asking price. So,
well, that's what I was going to say. What does that
I'd
deal
rather
look like?
the Phillies focus their resources elsewhere for if they're going to trade Bowman, sign Bregman, if they're going to get rid of Castellanos in favor of something else. I don't know. But if the Phillies either had found a
They
little
can't get rid of
extra wiggle room-
Castellanos. This man has the
He's
most
the-
legendary home runs in the history of baseball.
He's
Every time there's a
you can
tragedy,
predict it.
he
You
hits
mean,
a
I was gonna
home
say you
run.
can predict his home runs, but
You can absolutely get rid of Nick Castellanos.
but he is on the trade block supposedly. But
Send him elsewhere
from a-
with Taiwan Walker.
yeah, but Bellinger to me, while I'm fine having him, he's fairly low on the list of players I would go after purely because of of how much money he has.
What do you think the asking price is for most teams? Like, is he worth, a high prospect? I mean, I'm sure he is, but I guess how much value should the Cubs be looking to get back? Because I
It
feel
depends
like
on how much they're willing to eat. That really comes down to
I
it when
guess,
you're-
right? Yeah, that does make sense.
It has to come down, but the Cubs are probably wanting someone that's a little closer to major league ready, but they don't need it to be an outfield replacement. I mean, they're like I said, they're set in the outfield kind of prospect wise because Bellinger and Suzuki are blocking a couple players, but they have to be willing to eat a good chunk of that 27.5 million if they want to get anything in return of value. Otherwise, it's going to be like trading Bellinger away for nothing. And I don't know if that's quite what they want. I don't think they're dumping for the sake of dumping because he still can contribute to the team, but he is a high asking price considering the ability he is right now.
Yeah.
Well, considering the contract that he has that they gave him, I mean, to me, it does seem like dumping for the sake of dumping, and that's why I said I think it's hitting the panic button.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there is that case of okay, he's maybe blocking some players, but I don't know. It does seem a little strange to me, and we'll see what happens. I'm sure the Cubs will. If the rumors are coming about, up about this now, it's like, all right, what else are they planning to do? Because,
well, this will be the time to get a trade discussed.
It's like you think that they would have some confidence in that roster to potentially get into a wild card spot, in the upcoming year, but maybe not. Maybe they're looking to retool.
If they're going to
I don't
trade him, it
think
has
they
to be
do.
to a big-ish market team. It has to be to a team that'd be willing to take on some of that money, and that's not a lot of teams.
Well,
shocker! A big market team can afford to eat the contract of a big name in baseball. Shocker!
I didn't say it was going to be a shocking choice, but that's really all you got.
Let's move over to the Mets now, who had a surprising pitching staff last year with how successful it was, especially in the playoffs. And it looks like their rotation is going to be retooled a little bit. Obviously, we do not have the big fish as in terms of starting pitchers, but we know that they now have lost Luis Severino. We'll get to that in a little bit. They signed Clay Holmes
To a
as a
shocking
starter.
They
So
signed Clay
Which is a
Holmes, and
dumb
that it
move.
happened within the weekend that this came out. In fact, this, based on when we're recording, it happened like 2 hours ago.
yeah, and I don't know. Maybe there's something there with that Mets pitching coaches or something because they made big changes to Mania last year, to Quintana, but they're going to be different in 2025. I mean, let's
Yeah,
talk
but to
about
convert somebody from a closer to a starter,
they're
they're going to need more than just Michael's secret stuff in order to make this work.
Ask the Giants how that went with Jordan Hicks.
I will say, it is funny that it's Clay Holmes after the season he had this past season with like
how many blown saves was it? Was it 12?
I don't know what it was, but that number on top of somehow being an all-star, and now he's going crosstown to the Mets, and he's going to become a starter. Like it's just the weirdest thing. It's just
he should not have been the all-star closer,
nope.
But whatever.
Yeah, I mean hindsight. We've seen it then.
Hindsight.
No,
we said it then.
Hindsight. Craig Kimbrell shouldn't have been anywhere near the roster. Yet he was number 2.
Look, we said it then, but hindsight really kicked his ass on that one too. It wasn't good. I mean, but what do you make of this? Because again, they turned around a lot of the pitchers last season, and I kind of have faith in them to do it with the signings they make. Will, I'll go to you first.
I have more faith in Montas than Holmes. I mean, Montas has shown the capability in recent years that he can be top of the rotation stuff. He just hasn't been it consistently. So, being that what will probably be in the end an expected number 3 rotation spot behind Senga, and I still expect the Mets to have one big pitching signing besides the ones they've done so far. Then that's great for the number 3 pitcher to have his abilities. And then, yes, that I do have some faith that the Mets pitching staff will be able to get Montas to be more effective, or at least more consistently effective than he has been in the last couple of years. As for Holmes, I hate the trend of changing closers to starting pitchers. It's been going on for a while, but recently it just feels like it's gotten traction again. I guess I'm saying that a bit more in looking at relievers, but with like Michael King and Seth Lugo, that made some sense since both of them were used in long relief opportunities prior to them being transitioned to the rotation. Though in like Lugo's situation, he had a solid first year. It was really like his second or third year when he finally did a lot better. But last year he did struggle for the last few months, even though he somehow got a finished runner up in the Cy Young,
Yeah.
which blows my mind. But and then Michael King did well. But the biggest parallel that you're going to look at, or at least I'm going to look at for Holmes right now, is Jordan Hicks with the Giants. Last year, Hicks signed like a 4 or 5 year deal with San Francisco with the hopes of being a starter. He had about 2.5 months where he was indeed one of the best pitchers in the National League. And then he went south fast. And he not only was bad enough that he lost his job in the rotation in the second half of the season, and I think he may have been hurt too. He only pitched 10 games. His ERA was over 6. If you look at Garrett Crochet, who started last year for the first time, I believe, in not being out of the bullpen, he was fantastic for half of the season. His ERA was over 5 in the back half. There's going to be growing pains, especially from someone that hasn't been building up in a sense, like a long reliever has, to being a starter. So throwing Clay Holmes from a closer's role into a starter's role, it's gonna take like the whole length of his contract till you might see some actual results.
So it's interesting, right? So you look at their starting rotation. As you said, they have Senga. They'll get David Peterson back. They signed Montas. And if you expect them to sign another big arm, Holmes becomes like your fifth starter. And I agree with you. I think there is going to be some trials and tribulations with that, if you will. But I don't hate the rotation. I definitely think the rotation looks
If
a
they
lot
do
better.
nothing else, I kind of hate it.
Oh no,
If
I
this
agree.
ends up being it.
Yeah, I was about to say that. If they do nothing else, I do hate it. What? Okay, say they bring back Mania. How do we feel about that though? If they brought him back with the
They'd probably be similar-ish to what they were the previous year. I
yeah,
mean, they're a little bit better on paper just because of Senga being better than everyone when he's healthy.
yeah,
But I mean, Clay Holmes, I feel like brings him down a bit. Peterson looked really good last year. He's had
yeah,
times in his career where he's looked really good and times where he's looked really bad. I believe they still have McGill, who I've always kind of liked whenever he's pitched for them, but he always seems to be kind of pushed back as like the sixth guy and only thrown in when injuries happen. I can't really speak for the depth though that the Mets team would have right now if they only brought back Manaea or didn't make other small signings. So and you need some depth if you're going to have a relief pitcher be a starter.
yeah. And again, Peterson was good last year. 121 innings pitched with a 2.9 ERA. So I mean, he had a really good year, but you kind of want to get some insurance with that. Even Montas, like I don't know, man. He's another guy where like I haven't been a huge fan of him in terms of consistency throughout his career and kind of how he had gotten talked up for a while. He was always this big trade piece and stuff like that with his time in Oakland and stuff. So, for me, I think they definitely need to do something. I mean, John, I feel like, we've had the conversation a billion times with these big market teams. The Mets are one of them. They're looking to spend money, but I feel like, as we kind of mentioned, they need that big arm. We talked about Burns maybe going there. Do you still think that's maybe the direction that they try to go? Do they try to go for Sasaki? Like, do they try to just throw their hat in the ring and go for them all? Like, what is their plan here?
Well, I think they're going to try and go for them all. Like, there's no reason they shouldn't. We're going by that standard. I mean, you just said it. They're a big market team. They can afford to spend the money. They can go after whoever they want. You know, they're the second New York team, and the key name in there is New York. Regardless of whether you're first or second, you have money. So, the Mets clearly this it's elementary, my dear Watson. This is not going to work out. Honestly.
I do think that with the Soto signing expected soon and either within the first day or two, if not before the winter meetings, if the Mets strike out on Soto, and I think that is also a huge factor, as to whether or not they, depending on the type of caliber of a starter they try to get, depending on, of course, if they get Soto. I think if they don't get Soto, they're going to pounce pretty quickly on trying to get a starter or Alonso or someone in the winter meetings, even because of that immediate, just clarity of, all right, we didn't get the big gun. We got to strike to get ourselves one of these other spots before someone else snatches them.
If they don't get Soto, they're going to have to get Pete Alonso. They have to.
I was going to say, do you think it's smarter for them if they don't get Soto to still stay on the offensive standpoint and try, like you said, try to re-sign Alonso, or is it better for them to try to get a starting pitcher at this point and kind of lock down a rotation and then work on that? Because they already arguably have an outfield with the Siri trade, too. It's just that they're really they just have the hole at first base.
Yeah, they want us bad. Honestly, I am always of the belief that it's better to have good pitching than everything else.
Postseason begs to differ.
I know the postseason begs to differ. The postseason also says you need to have a strong bullpen. 10 years ago, it did not. Anyway,
the bullpens are exposed nowadays in the postseason.
The point of the matter is that
old news.
I think that the Mets will have to figure something out if they don't get Soto. I think they're going to get Soto. I really think that.
I know you do, and I hope you're wrong.
You just don't want them.
You hope I'm wrong, because I think the Yankees are going to get him. So one of us is probably going to be unhappy.
I just hope the Red Sox don't get him.
Here's
I don't think
deal.
the Red Sox are going to get Soto.
Here's the deal. If he goes to the Mets, Will's unhappy. If he goes to the Yankees, right, John's unhappy. If he goes to the Dodgers, we're all unhappy.
If he goes to the Dodgers,
wait, I have a better idea. I have a good idea. We'll send him to the Pirates.
Yes, I'll take it.
Honestly, I'd be happy with that. That'd be interesting.
That might have a balance of competitive play.
Yeah.
Single-handedly, he will put them in the postseason.
Except they'll get him, and then they won't be able to sign.
Skeens.
Yeah, they won't be able to sign Paul Skeens. They'll actually ship him out now because they're like, there's no point in keeping him. We can't.
No, they're going to rechange. They're going to change the model. You're going to put all your money on 2 players, and then get a bunch of AAA players,
like the Yankees. Like the Yankees.
No.
No, they did bench players and retirement home people. That's a little different.
They're not even going to do that. You know the Bugs Bunny cartoon where it's Bugs versus an entire baseball team? He's going to have Soto would have to pitch, catch, play first base, play the outfield. A ball will be hit so hard he'll have to jump in a taxi and go follow that ball.
And we get a Soto versus Ohtani game where it's just 1-on-1, no fielders, no just.
I will say,
you have to play all those positions.
No wall. Move the wall in.
Polo grounds.
No, I was gonna say 18 dead ball era walls. So it's just a line.
How about dead ball era balls? We'll see how far they get.
No gloves.
I will say to answer your question from
Rounders
before,
rules. We're going Rounders rules.
Ground rule triples. Let's go.
The New York Knickerbockers are coming back.
You guys are really running with this, huh? You guys are really running with this. To answer your question from before, Will, I think obviously ideally they need both. I don't think their pitching is going to be good enough if they don't sign another big free agent. But I also don't think, if they don't get Alonso and they don't get Soto, they have to make a move there too, because that's another big hole on that offense. So I think they're kind of caught in a bind. It's obviously better to get one over the other, but ideally they do both for their sake, and we'll see what happens. I don't know. I still think Soto goes to the Yankees. I think it's more realistic that they get a pitcher over somebody in the field. All right, moving over to the Phillies. Alec Boehm has kind of been on the trade block for a while. It's hilarious to me because I understand how his season ended and stuff, but he literally carried the Phillies for a good chunk of the early year, and they want to ship him out. So Will, floor's yours. How do you feel about this?
Well, we have to go wait now.
I'm just gonna rest during this. Pour myself
the
a
Boehm
drink.
situation is that uh, the Phillies have a lot of veterans on the team. If they want to shake things up via the trade market, there's only a handful of players that they could really trade and actually expect to get stuff and value. And the two main trade people are Suarez and Bohm. Bohm's a free agent after 2026, so he's one extra year of um team control, and Suarez is a free agent after this year. Bohm, I think there's enough holes in enough teams at third base that Bohm interests people. He is a contact first type of guy. He doesn't strike out a lot, and in the last couple of years, he has been an effective clutch hitter for the Phillies. He's been their best hitter with runners in scoring position. Heck, he was batting cleanup for a huge chunk of last year. But yeah, there's a lot of people are scared by what happened the last few months for Bohm, because when he was struggling, yeah, he was struggling a lot, but he was also visibly just frustrated all the time. It'd be the bottom of the first. He'd pop out. He'd throw his bat like he just screwed up in the eighth inning. Like, it was really bad. And whether he had a nagging injury that was just messing with him, whether it was something else going on, I don't know. But that was something that he grew out of. It felt like after his second or third year, basically the I effing hate this place thing. It seemed like he had kind of was growing out of that, and it was great to see how he was maturing. But yeah, it just things changed.
But now he's regressed.
But
that's the fear people are having.
But
I don't think that he is mentally strong enough for Philly. Honestly, I really
think he
don't
is, but I don't know what happened I think if the situation was me right now with the Phillies, trading away the guy that of everyone in the lineup right now, aside from just Harper because he's Harper, he is the most he fits the quote of what the Phillies are trying to build for a team this year, almost perfectly. The only thing is he just doesn't walk a ton, but he doesn't strike out a lot. He makes contact. He's clutch. He's been batting in the 280s or so, on average each year, or upper 270s. It was just more noticeable last year's drop off because he was around 300 going into the All-Star break, and then he was just had no extra base power, really wasn't that clutch in the second half. But he still got, I think, 95 RBIs and hit 97 the year before. So that's someone that I feel like the Phillies want to have. If they trade him, it's because they're getting a really high caliber player in return, like Garrett Crochet. That's been floated around that the Mariners have called in on Bohm, and the Phillies are like, we want Gilbert or Kirby, and they're like, no. So it has to be that level.
We want Gilbert or Kirby.
Man, hang up. So if there has to be that type of return, and then the Phillies would need to pivot, I would think, immediately to try to get Bregman, because he's the only free agent third baseman that I would consider a step up from Bohm that fits the model of what the Phillies are trying to restructure their lineup per se slightly. I mean, they're not going to do too many things, but it seems like they're going to do some stuff. So if you do trade him, it's a good indication to me, at least, that they really think they're going to get Bregman. That's why if the winter meetings to me are going to be the deciding factor on whether they trade Bohm, because either Bregman's going to sign somewhere else, and the Phillies, I think, will then hold on to Bohm, because I know Adames has been thrown around as a possibility for Philly, but I don't think they're going to get him in the end, and I don't think they really should, because he is still a huge strikeout type of player. If the Phillies trade him, then they can quickly pivot to Bregman. If they don't trade him, or there's really not much talk coming out about where they could trade him, then I think that they're kind of settling on the fact that either their asking price is too high, or they're not really shipping Bohm. They're just trying to see if they can get certain players that they maybe were very high on, and Bohm's the big trading piece they're trying to do. There was the Crochet trade a few weeks ago where Bohm and prospect Justin Crawford were the big pieces in that trade, and the biggest concern that came out of it was that the White Sox were a little worried based on Bohm's stats in the second half. I would give Bohm one more year since he still has an extra year of team control. And if it doesn't work out, then trade him, because I'm not willing to say that what happened those last couple months proves both physically and ability wise that he can't handle Philly and can't handle the spots he was in. But I do think that because that happened, there is a little bit of there's now a yellow flag, and to say that, hey, you kind of scared us a bit, and we had to bench you in the postseason because of it. Don't do it again.
But my question is, are the Phillies, not the fans who have been
Fans probably want him gone-ish. I don't know.
Right.
It's 50-50.
What I'm saying, but
if he hits a home run opening day, they're gonna love him.
that's
And then if he strikes out the next game, they'll hate him. That's how Philly works.
Exactly. That's how Philly works.
I mean, my whole thing is, are they trading him because of his inconsistency, or are they trading him because of his maturity? Because
Neither, I think, in the end. I think it's more so because he's valued as a just barely above average player offensively, with average to below average in general defensive metrics, though he apparently made a bigger stride last year at third. And the fact that he is a younger player that has shown signs of being a clutch player, that there are teams that would value him. And so the question now is, because there's that extra year of team control, and that can be kind of valuable on the trade market, is how much the Phillies can wiggle out because of it, or use that and then maybe throw on one of their top prospects that they're okay trading. So basically, in my mind, anyone but Painter. Then they can try to get someone in return. My big thing is, if the Phillies were to trade him, I want to straight up trade to the Brewers, Phillies, for Devin Williams.
I don't know. To me, I get what you're saying, and that does make sense that they see his value, kind of maybe gauge the interest, but you've seen what he can be at the start of the year, and look, again, obviously inconsistency, but like I feel like they're in a spot right now where they obviously have one of the best teams in the league with him in the lineup, and to me it just feels like, maybe you get a great return on him and you get a replacement and everything works out great. But I don't know. I just think it's a risk because I think he has so much upside, and we'll see. But it's just weird, man.
I definitely.
And the fix, you're going to get older if you have to replace him too, which is a bit weird. Then you are really getting old. So it does. No, I mean, in all, I am on your side. I agree that I would not trade Bohm. If they're going to fix anything, it's in the outfield, either in center field, left field. I'm not even opposed of them trading Marsh if they found a package or something there that worked out and had
that luscious beard.
Hey, you want to talk about a player that took a step back? He did take a step back last year, and his strikeout totals got insanely high at like his rate. So,
yeah, but his beard is so long and luscious.
No, listen. So anyway, Bohm is the type of player that I feel like you should keep him. He's young. I still trust his ability and everything. You should use your resources elsewhere. But I also understand the argument now that if the Phillies are going to trade people, he is one of the better options. And it's not like there isn't a possible like replacement to put in there. It's just that if you wait too long, then you might trade one and miss out on the other, in which case it almost feels like they're going to have to get Bregman before they trade Bohm just to guarantee they have it. But then if that happens, then there might be tipping their hand a bit of like, we have to trade Bohm, and then they kind of are forced to maybe get less than they originally planned. It's a weird type rope to walk, but I think in the end, the Phillies will be fine if they keep Bohm.
Yeah, I guess I was just surprised by all the rumors, even like going back to the end of the season and stuff. But we will see what happens there. You're right, though. It's kind of a fine line of, hey, man, like we don't want to tip our hand, but you want to be safe, and Bohm at least gives you that protection. And again, I think he has that ability to succeed. So we'll see what they do there. To a team that I have no idea what the plan is, and we really haven't for a long time. The Sacramento.
No.
They're just
sorry.
Hold on. We knew what the plan was for them. The plan was to get out of Oakland.
And
That was
they
the
did,
plan.
and they did that. And I will say I called myself on not saying Oakland, and then I said Sacramento, which also wasn't right. It's
Yeah, they're just the Athletics, buddy.
Excuse me.
The ATH, the ATH.
So for a team that refuses to spend money and has the lowest payroll,
The biggest F in baseball.
you're so dumb. They go out and sign Luis Severino, who I actually just looked on his baseball reference page. A little bit younger than I thought, but still kind of a weird deal. It's like, for me, if you're the A's, you need so much help that why are you splashing on one guy who like is not been the model of consistency?
You want to know why?
And that might not be it.
That's
You want to know
true.
why? Sell tickets to Sacramento.
There's not that many seats to fill, though. It's a AAA stadium.
They still aren't going to fill them. They don't have any fans there.
I mean, maybe I don't know. It's just I mean I literally put it in the chat when
It's
the
also
signing
weird that
happened.
Severino would want to go there, but I guess good. That's where the money was.
Well,
going.
I was thinking about that too. It's like, all right, if players are going there, it's for the money, but who else is realistically going to sign there? Like he signed like this. I mean, this is just like his bag. I understand that, but like, but then if you're the Athletics, why would you sign a guy if you can't sign other play? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
The
honestly.
idea is to help them sell tickets.
Probably, but the thing is, they also supposedly have had, whether they still have it out there, had also submitted a big offer to Sean Manaea along with Severino. So
that one I can understand a little bit more, and I know that.
Well, so the fact, but that's so now that you have the Severino deal went through, it's like, wait, are the A's actually gonna try to put some money into it? But then again, the kind of goes back to what you said before. If they're gonna put money into it, why put it on maybe 2 players for 50 million instead of 5 at like 10 apiece?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Call me crazy.
John's putting his owner hat on.
If you say for money or to seats, I understand.
No.
Okay. No, it's for tsunami defense.
So what if this is essentially testing the waters to see how well they can function as a bigger market team for when they move to Vegas? Because
what's the
hold on. Because once they move to Vegas, they can't be doing this Oakland Athletic crap of, money balling it. They got to be able to spend money there.
Watch them.
So
watch them.
I think the A's and the Angels are going to be like, all right, who can spend the most money on older players for weird signings?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just I get why Severino signed it. Hell, I'd sign that deal too. But I don't know. It's going to be weird.
I think for him also, because this is just, I feel like this is just simply a stopgap thing for him. Like, get a little bit of money, then hopefully get traded.
What
I mean, he does have an opt out after the second year, so
here's my question, right? So what was their payroll last year was like 68 million or something. Like I wonder what is it? Like what are they like? What is their projection of like what is the max that they can spend? I guess like do they
What's
have
the max
money?
They can spend?
Like what
a
I'm
lot
saying,
more than what they did.
I know, but what I'm saying is like how much more is what I'd like to know, because I want to know if this is just like, all right, we're gonna sign like another old guy and then that'll be it, or like if they're gonna try to put some concept of a team together. That's what I'm curious about.
Tyler, the Athletics are the Pittsburgh Pirates of the American League. Okay. They are a storied franchise that should be a bigger market than what they are, and they have continued to flounder and be greedy and take the team and move it all over God's country. That's just what it comes down to.
I also feel like what they're trying to do is now decide if they're making enough progress in enough of development in their younger talent or not, because they did get, what was it, 70 wins last year?
Yeah, and there was
they made up quite a big jump from the previous year. I mean, they're not gonna I don't expect them to have another like 12 to 15 win jump and be a 500 team. But and this is
All right,
probably why the opt out is in there.
hold on.
They're trying no you stop. Is they're is they're trying to figure out if the offensive talent is developing in a way where maybe they are thinking that by the time they're in Vegas they can at least be chasing a wild card spot. So if they can get to like 75 wins this year, then they'll consider themselves growing well. And if they drop back into the low 60s, then maybe that's the Severino sign of, yeah, last year was a fluke. I'm going to get out of here as soon as possible.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
so
like,
hear me out. Wouldn't it be crazy and a little bit fun and chaotic if we had the
I already hate this.
the Athletics not only win like 80, 85, maybe even 90
John.
games. Hold on. Let me finish. But then also get to the World Series, and then the World Series has to be played in a AAA stadium.
We've already said this. The World Series next year is going to be the Championship Series is going to be the Athletics and the Rays, and it's going to be which minor league stadium are we playing at?
Look, it'd be fun and crazy if I hit the lottery too, John, but that ain't going to happen either. So let's leave the fantasies out of the MLB.
All right, listen. Sometimes with baseball, you just need a little bit of chaos.
We need Moneyball 2.0.
I like chaos. Okay.
Okay, Joker.
Yeah, I mean, look,
I like a little bit of chaos in my baseball.
I can see the makeup, slowly forming on your face. The smile is growing.
I mean, they were hell bent on keeping Brent Rooker, so I guess maybe they're trying to build something. Lawrence Butler showed flashes last year, but man, I don't know. I really don't.
They're gonna drop like 20 million on a position player, and they're just be like, all right, I don't know anymore what they're doing.
Yeah, and it's gonna be like who's like
and Athletics are gonna get Juan Soto.
No, who's like a 32-year-old outfielder that needs money.
Outfielder?
Yeah, I'm trying to think like who's out there. Like
Alex Verdugo.
There you go. that's what it is. No, Santander's too prominent. It'll be Verdugo. Verdugo's going to the.
You have to be someone that's like third or fourth tier.
Yeah,
like bottom third.
It's gonna be somebody weird.
All right, Bobby shouted out the comment section in a previous episode. I want to shout out the comment section here. Athletics fans, can you shout out and who you think?
Who the fuck could you possibly be talking to?
John, this is
all right. Listen, no. Listen here, the people of Sacramento. Who do you want to see hitting home runs in your ballpark besides Aaron Judge?
Who do you want to wear green?
You know how you just fantasize about the A's in the World Series? There's a better chance of that happening than us connecting the athletic fans from our platform.
Can one Athletics fan find us online and like this video?
I mean,
hold on. There has to be somebody in Vegas that's already bought their A's gear.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Listen, step away from the slot machine for 2 minutes, reach out to us, and say who you think is going to sign with the Oakland with the Athletics.
They're still fighting about the stadium over there. I don't think anyone's buying anything.
No. It became official yesterday. Yesterday.
The Athletics are gonna, they gotta put a good product on the field because there will be drunk fans in Vegas at all times if they gotta watch what
sports
the fans
betting is going to be a premium.
Tyler, it's Vegas. There's going to already be drunk fans.
There's going to be drunk fans, but my goodness, it is unbearable.
They're going to have like betting,
so
like mini screens at everyone's seats. It's going to bet on your sports.
That's a genuine question. Would that be? Would it be a good or bad situation for tampering with baseball over there?
Dude, if it's on every clubhouse that players can't bet, then no, get it out of the stadium. I mean, the Vegas Golden Knights don't have that going on. My goodness. All right, let's move on to our last shit show in the AL West, which is the Los Angeles Angels. Hey, Give them
Making
props.
no sense.
Give them props. They're doing the Anthony Rendon model. Let's sign a bunch of guys who,
All right, let's see. Who do
who
we
could
got?
make an impact. We'll
They're
see what
trying.
happens, but they got to stay on the field.
Guys, let's try and build somebody or something around Trout here.
Yeah,
They've done 4 notable things so far already.
give them to us. Well, let's recap. I know.
Well,
you know,
so the Braves traded Jorge Soler to the
Yeah.
Angels for Griffin. Was it Canning?
Yeah,
And then he was non-tendered, so it was literally a dump trade for the Braves. They signed Kyle Hendricks to a 1-year deal. Great choice. Travis d'Arnaud to a 2-year deal, and he's basically going to be the backup catcher for Logan O'Hoppe.
Yeah.
So I guess d'Arnaud's done with winning because he was on the Braves. And he was better than Murphy's been. So I mean, he literally was like, "I'm just going to go retire in California for 2 years and get paid while doing it." And then the last one
said
is
he's going to Disney World or Disneyland.
Yeah, pretty much. And the last one is Yusei Kikuchi, who signed a 3-year deal where he is literally just going to get hurt for each of those 3 years because that's what Angels pitchers do. So if he had any hopes of actually competing, goodbye. Like, he's the only signing that actually makes some sense if you're trying to be better. But like,
yeah,
you're getting Kendrick sucks now. Like, he just flat out sucks.
Yeah.
You non-tender Sandoval and you sign Hendricks. What are you doing, you goddamn animals? And then you have Soler, who was like remember the rally monkey? Yeah, you guys are monkeys. But Jorge Soler's a weird one because the guy can have power, but aside from like a couple of good years with Chicago, I think it was, he's not really done anything. He was, of course, a postseason hero for the Braves when they won the World Series. That's a little bit of a different situation. It did not work out well last year. So I think they have him still for 2 more years because this is all connected to that Giants deal that he signed prior to, I think it was last year.
Yep.
So, like, I mean, yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see Mike Trout and batting behind him, Jorge Soler. So, like,
and Anthony Rendon with the golden bat.
He won't be on the team. Come on.
I mean,
he's going to be in the injured reserve.
Give him 2 months and he'll be gone.
Well,
Art Moreno said that the Angels were going to try to compete next year. He's making signings like we're going to try, but I mean, you can look at any reasonable person and say that they're absolutely pretenders. The only thing that they've done is guaranteed they won't have a worse record than what was the worst record in franchise history last year.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't.
Did they though? Did they guarantee that?
Here, this is what I'll say.
I think they'll get more than 63 wins.
Yeah, I mean, if Trout stays healthy, that they will. But, excuse me. I mean, to your point, right? So you sign. Kikuchi's really the only good signing here. Not only just from like a talent level, but you sign like a 5th starter. You sign a backup catcher.
A 7th starter. He's the backup to your backup. And
then you sign Soler, who doesn't make a lot of sense unless you have a lineup to produce around him, because it's like, all right.
I'm guessing that he could be playing left field, I guess, for them, but otherwise he'd be a DH. That's where Trout should be, you morons. You want to keep him healthy, either put him in the corner outfield spot or get him off the field, preferably off the field.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't hurt your back if you're sitting most of the time or getting the goddamn Theragun on your back.
Actually,
look at for all those people that don't know how to sit properly, shut up.
Yeah, I mean, our producer has injured his back.
Who the fuck are you talking to?
I'm talking to you.
Why am I asking all of you this question?
I just wanted to put it out there that you can.
My back hurts just having this conversation.
My back feels great.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah,
but all that being said, I have all intention to believe they're going to have at least one decent looking signing. It doesn't mean it's going to be a good one on paper, but they're going to cough up X amount of money for 3 years at another player. Why not? It's the Winter Meetings.
One decent looking signing, and then it's going to blow up in their face.
It's going to be another pitcher, probably. I mean,
I was thinking pitcher or something in the infield.
Probably both, being them.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll
I
get
mean,
Whit Merrifield because Whit Merrifield
Yeah,
is
they're
turning into
just-
a has-been real quickly, and then you're gonna get a pitcher that's like Jose Quintana.
yeah, they're just
50 age.
assembling. They're just assembling the Braves that don't want to be there anymore. Got Soler, Merrifield, we'll say,
Hey,
and
the A's are trying to give contracts to former Mets pitchers, so
makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, are they trying to make Trout happy? I mean, he's locked up in there, so he's not going anywhere. Maybe
Trout's
they're trying
happy because he chose to stay there for all the right reasons, but he's
Yeah.
getting money as the backup plan. So I mean, I feel
They're
bad
like-
for the guy, but you know he's recovering nice and easy.
They're like, let's make him happy. Kyle Hendricks.
Art
Can we start a
Moreno is
campaign?
like,
Can we start a
go.
free Mike Trout campaign?
Well, we already have too many campaigns going on, but we'll add it to the list.
What else do we have? We have
We
Dave Roberts. We had the fire Boone and Cashman.
Yeah,
I think that campaign died
Might have.
once they entered the World Series.
Unless if they don't get
No.
if they don't get Soto, it might be back on. It might be back on though.
Yeah, we'll see what the rest of their offseason signings were.
We'll
I
see.
swear though, when I saw Cashman celebrating on TV when they made it to the World Series, his expression was like, "Yeah, I get to keep my job."
And if they had a camera on Boone, probably same situation.
No, he's
They're
probably
over there
screaming at a
hugging each
fan for
other.
yelling at him from the stands again.
Yeah, but all right, enjoy the winter meetings. As again, baseball
Chaos.
is going to become chaos, and maybe not the chaos that John was talking about, but some chaos. We'll see
There
what
will
happens.
be chaos, and we will probably have to do an episode immediately afterwards because of all the chaos.
We will. All right. If you guys want to contact us on Twitter, we're on Twitter at BL_breakdowns, Big League Breakdowns everywhere else. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed the content, like the video, all that good stuff, and we will see you next time.
Wear your seatbelt, especially you A's fans.
Stop.